do we want to get to the most unlikely losses Tennessee's ever suffered in this series?
Yeah, and I want to get your thoughts. What are your most painful memories of the Florida series? And then we'll get to what are your most positive memories as well. But your most painful memories of the Florida series, I would have to say this from a Tennessee fan's perspective. And I'm a journalist, I'm objective. But to me, it was by far the Jabbar Gaffney catch, no catch, because that was a rule that ended up being changed, that you had to show some sort of control with the football. And I guess technically by the letter of the law and the rule, it was correct. But good gravy, if that's a catch, then my son never dropped a football when I was throwing it at him because I hit him every time. And he may have had it for an ultra minute split second, but he dropped a lot of them as he's not the clan isn't blessed with great hand-eye coordination, but except for me. But Caleb, yeah, that to me was by far the most painful ones. All right, so let me ask you, most painful losses to Florida, and then we'll go to the most positive losses for Florida. Nobody's going to top mine as I'll go full Uncle Dave mode. What do you think are the 3 or 4 most painful losses to Florida?
All right, so I got a few. And by the way, all of these are due to questionable coaching. 3 of the 4 I'm going to name are masterpieces in just stupidity on the in coaching. Just like no brain cells whatsoever from the coaches on the sidelines, okay? And so I'm going to start. The first one I'm not going to say that about. But you just brought up the 2001, the Jabbar Gaffney one. Dave, we can talk about the Jabbar Gaffney play all day. Tennessee's defense let Florida go 91 yards on that final drive.
Great.
And John Chavis played a soft zone prevent after blitzing Jesse Palmer all game long. I don't know why he decided to do that in that moment. It was...
For those on our audio platforms, I'm shaking my head vociferously.
Yes, it was. I could not for the life of me figure out why he decided to go soft zone there. It's so stupid when coaches do that. But before that, the drive previously, Tennessee had a chance to put Florida away. Do you remember this, Dave? It was 3rd and 1. You have Travis Henry, known as Cheese, a block of cheese because you can't tackle him. And Randy Sanders is, let's call a toss play. They won't be expecting that after your toss attempt against Florida the year before failed. And why not just give it to Travis Henry straight up the gut and make Florida try to tackle him for early?
Well, that reminds me of that would have been 99 when they ran the toss play to Jamal on 4th and 1. That was the game in which T was supposedly shaking his hands. Do you remember that?
Oh, where they had timed the snap count. Alex Brown had figured out the snap count because of how he moved his hands, right?
Yeah, like right before they would snap, he would kind of shake his hands. But really the play that stands out to me, I mean, that's great that they got an advantage. I mean, it happens more than you know in those sorts of situations. But the fact that they ran a toss sweep to Jamal Lewis with that offensive line instead of just run it in the A or B gap to me was muddling.
I'm going to be fair on that one. It was 4th and 3, not 4th and 1. And they had just gotten stopped on a run up the middle of the previous play, 3rd and 3. The reason they called if you go back and look at the replay, the toss was there. Jamal Lewis tried to cut to the inside just to get the first down. If he stays running to the outside, Dave, he's got a touchdown because Florida closed the gaps on the inside part. So the play was there. Jamal Lewis just made the wrong read on it.
I agree. And I'm not saying this in just with hindsight being 2020. I just didn't like the play call. If you thought the down and distance wasn't in your favor, then you need to throw the ball.
I agree.
Yeah. If you would have asked me the worst play they could have called at that point, other than Statue of Liberty, I would have said a toss sweep.
Actually, Statue of Liberty would have worked there. But the point being, yes, you are right. That 99 game, though, again, Tennessee would have been lucky to win that game. They were down 23-7. Once again, Florida had 5 turnovers. They just held on. So I don't hold that one against them as much. But like the 2001, they should have won. They also had 3 times inside the 1-yard line where they settled for field goals, and Fulmer didn't go for the throw. So the 2001 was bad. I
would offer this one up really quick before you get to more recent ones. Peyton Manning's last loss. He comes back for his senior year, and you think that Tennessee is going to beat Florida finally. And what happens? They go out there and they're down 34-0 before you can even blink.
No, that's 96 when they're down 35-0.
Okay.
before Peyton Manning's senior year.
Okay, so take me to 97.
97 is the Tony George pick six game where they're at Florida. And basically Tennessee's offensive line put together the worst performance in the history of offensive lines that day, where Peyton Manning had less than 2 seconds to get rid of the ball. So
I'm just going to put it this way. You can go with 96 or 97 lost to Florida because of Peyton. All right. Yeah. So what else have we got? Jabbar Gaffney, no catch. We've had a couple of people that have chimed in there, continue to do so, as Caleb has a couple as well.
All right, so that's the one of the four most unlikely. The Mannings, none of those losses were unlikely because Florida did just kind of dominate those games. But there's three other unlikely losses that all happened under Butch Jones because Butch Jones should have gone 4-1 against Florida and won 4 straight, but he lost 3 of those 4 because he's Butch Jones.
Give me your top 2 out of those, and then we'll get to the third one.
All right, my top 2. 2015. Dave, if you ever want to just go watch a masterpiece of coaching failures, go watch Butch Jones versus Jim McElwain in 2015. There's a few things that happened in that game. So late in the fourth quarter, Dave, Jalen Hurd takes a draw and runs it into the end zone for a touchdown to put Tennessee up 26-14. You're Tennessee, you're like, oh my gosh, they're going to beat Florida. Butch Jones doesn't go for 2. It's 26-14 in the fourth quarter. You go for 2, right? To get a 2-touchdown lead. Can you not count to 14?
I don't chase points in the first half, so I'm going to back him.
This is the fourth quarter. Fourth quarter.
That's absurd.
Okay. Then Florida, on the next drive, converts 4 fourth downs to score, make it 27-21. Butch Jones sits on the lead, runs it 3 times, punts it. Florida converts a 5th fourth down on 4th and 15, goes for a touchdown. They win 28-27. Another masterpiece of coaching failure in that game. The most famous part of that game, Dave. Tennessee was up 20-7 in the third quarter. Jim McElwain on 4th down decided to kick a 50-yard field goal. And you're going to love this. Butch Jones, if you're Butch Jones and you're up 20-7 and your opponent's kicking a 50-yard field goal, you take the win, right? You're like, yes, we're going to get the ball back. Butch Jones freaked out because he didn't have his field goal block team out there, so he burned a timeout. And
so what year was that again?
2015. Wait, I'm not done. Because he burns the timeout, I kid you not, Jim McElwain comes out of the timeout, changes his mind, decides to go for it, gets it. Florida scores on that drive. If Butch Jones doesn't burn that timeout and just stay base 4-3 defense, Florida kicks a field goal and you got the ball up 20-10. That's I can't get over how just massive coaching malpractice that was.
Okay, give me your second one. Then we're going to try to loop in Ollie Lane here, who appears to be walking around with a phone. So he's doing his best, and we appreciate y'all. Give me that last one.
All right, that last one, 2017, 2 years later, and this was when I was off the Butch train. Butch Jones, Tennessee doesn't have enough defensive backs because they're banged up. So Florida beats them on a Hail Mary because Butch Jones refuses to just put an extra receiver in to guard the deep ball. And he says, we don't have a dime package. In that game, John Kelly was averaging over 6 yards a carry, and Tennessee did not run it one time when they got inside the 10-yard line. They threw it 7 times when they were inside the 10-yard line, and all of them were incomplete passes. One of those ended up in an interception. The other one ended up in them getting a field goal. It was just, a masterpiece of coaching stupidity.